MSU Denver students can now take advantage of the mental health service that is included with tuition. More information on this new opportunity up next.
Spring break is just days away, and we have tips for traveling safely.
More than a dozen Democrats are running for president in 2020. We analyze some of the frontrunners. The Met Report starts now.
Thank you for joining us on the Met Report. I'm Hunter Oswald.
And I'm Allison. Wednesday's bomb cyclone affected thousands of Coloradans in different ways. One of the strongest snowstorms took over Colorado on Wednesday and resulted in abandoned cars, accidents, and power outages that could last for days after the blizzard. There are about 85,000 people that still have no power in their homes, according to Xcel Energy. However, students enjoyed the day off of school and the weather did not affect them.
Just stayed warm inside, didn't have school to worry about, so it was just a relaxing day.
Once we were home and inside, I mean, like I said, the power didn't go out or anything, and just stayed warm and really didn't do a whole lot, just enjoyed our day off.
Last fall, over 70% of students at MSU Denver voted in favor of including a mental health service fee with tuition. We caught up with Auraria Health Center's clinical outreach specialist, Richard Miko, to learn more.
So the mental health fee was passed last year. Around 70% of the student body decided to pass it for additional services around mental health, outreach and education, as well as clinical services. It offers no charge visits to the counseling center, anything from individual therapy to the groups that they run and the workshops that they offer, to mental health visits at the health center. So that includes our advanced practice nurses, our psychiatric nurse practitioners, as well as our psychiatrists. We want students to know that there is support, and if there's ever those things that are popping up that are new or they're persistent and they just can't manage themselves, we want them to be able to seek out support. Right now, 1 in 4 college students or adults in general are struggling with mental health issues, and so it's a very common thing. We want to support them. We'd much rather them walk into the office saying, what can I do? Is there anything that we can do? Rather than just saying, you know, there's nothing for me, because there are a lot of options that are available. We've been working on a mental health resource brochure. We should have those out, you know, in the next month or so. Who to contact, how to contact them, and what services are provided within the different offices, and those include Auraria PD, the counseling center, the health center, as well as the care team within the Dean of Students office.
Couple of safety tips to keep you in the clear while enjoying a week of relaxation. If you are planning on hitting some waves and catching some sun, drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Use sunscreen daily to avoid skin damage and reapply when necessary. Stay close to friends and always make sure everyone is accounted for. But remember to have fun and make good decisions.
Hello everybody, I'm Gloria Morelia. MSU could possibly become a first division sports university. But what exactly does this mean for students and student athletes?
The Board of Trustees held a special work session with representatives from the Western Athletic Conference on March 11th.
Jeff Hurd and Brian Mueller showcased their interest in making MSU Denver a Division I institution by emphasizing their success with Catholic and diverse schools.
The idea that you can't compete for 4 years and it's going to be doom and gloom is not true. The top 15 or 20% of Division II programs in this country are better than the bottom 15% of Division I programs.
I don't think there's any consequences per se. I think there's just a transition period. You know, they were talking about that transition period between actually being eligible for postseason and not being eligible for postseason. I mean, we have a tremendous history here at the Division II level of winning national titles and all those things. So that would be probably the biggest difference, is not being eligible for that 4-year window while we were to make that transition.
The board also hosted commissioners from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, Chris Graham and Tim Selgo, who are representatives of Green Valley State University.
You know, I think there's pros and cons to both. in all honesty. Obviously, at the Division II level, we've won quite a few championships, whether it's men's basketball, volleyball, all of our sports have tremendous success at Division II level. So I think we just leave it up to the people in charge, and they'll do what's best for the university, and then we'll support whatever decision they make.
Unfortunately, the meeting went on for 3 hours, causing board members to leave and couldn't finalize a vote. They will be holding a meeting in early May to make their final decisions. Reporting for the Met Report, I am Gloria Morelia.
This week, on Wednesday, we experienced some crazy snow.
Yeah, hopefully soon, coming closer to spring break, it gets a little bit better.
Yeah, like, it's going to be warmer weather this week. As we can turn over to here, as you can see throughout here, there's clear skies and things like that. There's clear skies, as we can see throughout the entire range of Colorado. But, let's see. For right now, its temperatures are like 37 degrees with winds 30, with 10 miles per hour. But it's going to be a little bit warmer as the day goes up. So like between like the lower 40s and the upper 30s. But today, like for today's highs, it'll be like 40 degrees sunny. But tonight low will be 18 clear. But we're heading off with a warmer weekend with a 7-day forecast in the fall of the week.
Coming up on the Met Report.
This week, we experienced a record-setting bomb cyclone just in time for Colorado's snowiest month.
Hispanic business is booming in Colorado, and one coffee connoisseur is expanding his enterprise in an original way.
And we'll catch you up on who the Broncos picked up for the upcoming season.
Swimming is a fun, enjoyable activity, but it can also be very dangerous if you don't know how to do life-saving skills. And so that's what swimming lessons is. It can be that extra protection against the threats of water. And so here at Aquatot Swim School, it's going to teach those little ones to be confident in the water, having no fear and anxiety. We're going to be working on basic foundational swimming skills. When we are doing our level 3 classes, so this is our foundational class, so they will do some jumping in, turning around, and finding a wall. Swimming year-round helps the kids retain all of their swim skills that they're learned throughout their swimming lessons. So if they're swimming year-round, they are able to keep making that progress without having to track back if they're coming out and going back in.
Even with spring break less than a week away, March is Colorado's snowiest month. Student meteorologist Kaylee Reynolds has more.
Colorado is known for their beautiful mountains, hiking, and of course the snowfall. For a lot of people who live out of state, believe we experience our largest snowfall around December. Even though we can experience large snowstorms in December, a lot of them actually occur a lot later than that. The National Weather Service monthly snowfall from 1882 to 2015 shows that, on average, February and March is when we experience our heaviest snowfall. But it's important not to forget we can have large snowstorms all the way into May. This is all because of the type of snow that falls. Unlike super cold and dry snow we see a lot during the early seasons of winter, the snowfall in March is packed with a ton of moisture, creating the big, heavy snowfall. This is mainly because cold air cannot hold as much moisture as warm air. Another threat with this is the difficult driving conditions. The snow can melt so quickly it creates large amounts of water on roadways. Not only do you have the water to worry about, But also, if the temperatures get below freezing during the night, all of the water will freeze and can form onto ice on the roads. So make sure you take it slow and steady on the roads after a spring snowstorm. And don't put away your snow shovel yet, because Colorado can have long winters lasting all the way into May. For the Met Report, this is student meteorologist Kaylee Reynolds.
In a study of 100 college students, 151 had at least one risk factor for heart disease. With this in mind, the American Heart Association offers some tips to avoid a heart attack while shoveling snow this winter. Taking breaks and not overexerting yourself is key. Heart attack warning signs include chest discomfort, cold sweat, upper body discomfort, nausea or lightheadedness, and shortness of breath. Consult a doctor if you have these symptoms. If you or someone you know is experiencing a medical emergency, call 911 right away.
Lori Lawlin, Felicity Huffman, 9 coaches, and a few others are just among a list of wealthy parents involved in a college tuition scandal. Some of these parents were willing to pay William Rick Sanger thousands of dollars per SAT and ACT test score to help their students get into an elite college. Sang and his company, The Key, were paid a total of $25 million to help these wealthy families. Sanger is the CEO of the world's largest private college, life coaching, and counseling company for over 20 years.
The growth of Hispanic businesses in Colorado continues to increase in creativity and originality. These businesses not only provide quality products, but also real stories behind the effort. Our reporter Yahaira Hernandez brings us the story of Jose Christian, a Hispanic entrepreneur. Let's take a look.
Empiezas desde cero, tocando puertas.
Jose Christian is an entrepreneur who came from Mexico City with the goal of achieving a dream that he had been carrying in his heart for a while. The passion he obtained from his father led him to grow the love for a good coffee.
Este negocio viene de familia. Mi papá trabajó en el Instituto Mexicano del Café en los años 80 de México. Y todo ese bagaje que él me enseñó, toda esa gente que conoció del café, ahora son mis mentores, mis maestros y mis proveedores de café.
And although the desire and motivation was always present for Jose Christian, his dream of bringing a little taste of Mexican land to the United States was not always the easiest.
Es un proceso muy largo porque importar cosas desde México no es tan fácil. Hay que seguir una línea de procesos, de papeleos, la FDA, etc.
The process was long and complicated, but on the way, he met positive people who believed in his dream and decided to support him.
Y la verdad que he encontrado en este país gente muy buena, solidaria, norteamericanos y mexicanos que se sienten orgullosos de alguien que está empezando su negocio, porque realmente es como empezar completamente de cero una historia y aquí estamos para contarla después de 2 años.
And the goal he wants to fulfill:
expandir el producto, mi café, que es de gran calidad, que es orgánico. Tengo la meta de poderlo distribuir en todo el estado de Colorado y zonas aledañas.
Selva Sur, a local coffee roaster, wants to bring a fresh Latin American flavor to coffee lovers in Colorado. One of his greatest achievements was recently when the mayor of Denver was very interested in his story and spent time with him, wishing him the best of luck with his dream.
De verdad que hay un momento que a la mitad del camino quieres renunciar. Es tan difícil, te pone tan difícil, nadie te conoce, entonces tener mucha paciencia y mucha preparación y nunca dejar de soñar.
Mental Health Awareness Month might be in May, but a growing concern for substance abuse is on the rise. Mental health awareness and substance abuse often go hand in hand. Although there are many substances that can become addicting, such as cigarettes and alcohol, painkillers have become a crisis. Over 27 million Americans 12 years and older will struggle with substance abuse, including prescription pills and opioids. Since other pain medications are prescribed at such an alarming rate, cases of addiction will continue to arise.
SpaceX's spacecraft, the Crew Dragon, safely returned to Earth last Friday after its historic 6-day trip to the international space. The Crew Dragon became the first American spacecraft in history to autonomously dock with the International Space Station. The Dragon is a joint effort between NASA and SpaceX and is the only spacecraft capable of returning large amounts of cargo to Earth. The spacecraft is currently taking cargo, but is capable of transporting passengers as well.
Color blindness is a common form of subtle discrimination against other races. Dominique McNeil has more about racial colorblindness and how to combat it on campus.
The United States is a melting pot of people coming from all over the world, but there is still argument whether or not if racism still exists or how colorblindness plays a role in that. Many students of color face this form of subtle discrimination.
When people say that they are colorblind, they are trying to pretend that racism doesn't exist or that structural racism isn't a big issue.
Supposed to be well-intended and was supposed to have, you know, a good meaning behind it, trying to combat racism. But I think we've really grown from that now in our society.
For those of you who may not know, colorblindness in terms of race means the representation of whiteness, assertion that they are living a world where racial privilege no longer exists, but their behavior supports racialized structures and practices.
Seems to be a willful attempt to ignore the realities of racism. And so in that way, to ignore racism makes you complicit in racism itself.
Most students of color often hear the common phrase when dealing with colorblindness is where another person would say, how I don't see color, I see the human race. This phrase can often lead to this racial ideology that posits the way to end discrimination individuals equally as possibly without regarding to race, culture, or ethnicity.
For a lot of students, it's not the intention behind it. When they say they're colorblind, they're trying to say that they are not racist or that they see everyone as equal. And it sounds good, and so I know that that's like the go-to response.
However, this ideology can cause a lot of problems because just saying that you don't see another person's color does not solve anything because we are not identifying the differences around us. Instead, we are ignoring them.
To say that you're colorblind, it's denying someone's identity.
Even though colorblindness still exists, there are still efforts being made to fix this problem. In the Tivoli Station Union, I'm Dominique Neal, Met Report. For tomorrow, 46 sunny. But for our 7-day forecast, this weekend will be pretty warm with the upper 40s. But as the week goes by, it'll be like on the highest ones will be like 57 degrees. You can go on Facebook, Twitter, and our now website, mymetmedia.com.
At Metropolitan State University at Denver, our mission is to provide high-quality, accessible education that prepares our students for successful careers, postgraduate education, and lifelong learning in a global and technological society. Our values of diversity, access, and community help us provide opportunities for our students from all over the globe. In fact, we've just been named a diversity champion by Insight into Diversity magazine for 2016. Because at MSU Denver, we believe in transforming lives.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Stand on the edge of the train station platform. Drive around the boom, gets at a level crossing. Run across the tracks between the platforms. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly dumbest ways to die.
There's a million dumb ways to die. Don't let it be around buses and trains. Be safe around buses and trains. A message from RTD.
So many dumb ways to die.
Welcome to Met Report Politics. I'm Tony Almanza. If you plan on taking a trip to Europe in a couple of years, it's going to cost you an extra $8. Last April, the European Union introduced new regulations for Americans traveling to Europe. Rest assured, Europe is not making Americans apply for visas. Instead, there will be a new European travel information and authorization system, which will take more than 10 minutes to fill out and cost only $8. The information will then be cross-checked with Interpol and security databases, and you will know if you have been approved for travel within minutes. The pass is good for 3 years or until your passport expires. On the other side of the world, amid the political turmoil in Venezuela, the country is experiencing a nationwide blackout. On Tuesday, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro gave a televised address stating that the outage was an electronic coup carried out by criminal minds. He continued by blaming the United States for the attack, but offered no proof. The blackout has left up to 70% of the country without power, leaving many Venezuelans without food and unable to receive essential medical care. President Maduro has been unable to provide a timetable as to when the blackout may end. Finally, we know that 2020 is fast approaching and the number of Democratic candidates seems to be growing every day. Our Brandon Menchev takes a quick look at the candidates, including one with a Colorado connection.
14 Democrats have already thrown their hat into the ring for the opportunity to challenge President Donald Trump in 2020. The frontrunners at this point would have to be Senators Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders. Senator Booker is so far running a campaign somewhat reminiscent of Barack Obama circa 2008. His core issues focus on criminal justice reform and bridging the partisan gap. Senator Gillibrand was elected to the U.S. House in 2006 as a centrist Democrat and appointed to the Senate in 2009. She has since moved left on many issues, including immigration and gun control, and is now seen as a champion of women's rights and gender equality. Senator Kamala Harris, prior to becoming a senator, became the first female Jamaican-American and Indian-American elected to Attorney General in California. Harris would be considered one of the more progressive candidates in the Democratic field, campaigning on issues such as the legalization of marijuana and Medicare for All. Speaking of Medicare for All, perhaps no candidate has expressed more support for this than Senator Bernie Sanders. A self-described Democratic socialist, Senator Sanders has never been shy about his desire for universal health care. At 77 years old, the senator may not be the youngest candidate, but his campaign set a record for the amount of money raised by a presidential campaign in the first 24 hours. While not a frontrunner, another name worth a mention is that of South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg. A long shot for the nomination, the 37-year-old Mayor Buttigieg, a veteran of the war in Afghanistan, is the first openly gay Democratic candidate for president and would be the youngest ever president if elected. One other name you may have heard of for president is that of former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper. Governor Hickenlooper announced his presidential candidacy just last week, and he has already seen plenty of network news airtime. The race for 2020 is officially off and running. For the Met Report, I'm Brendan Menchev.
After we finish this package, former U.S. Representative Beto O'Rourke became the 15th Democrat to begin a 2020 presidential run. The Met Report political segment will be back after spring break, but in the meantime, keep it right here because sports is next.
Hi, this is Wellington Webb, former mayor of Denver, Colorado from 1991 to 2003. I was so pleased to receive an honorary doctorate from Metro State University. It's been a great highlight of my life. And I also want to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to you on your 50th anniversary.
Met Radio on mymetmedia.com.
Drop that baby.
Why are you reading that trash? Read the Metrosphere. Metrosphere is a magazine that highlights art, literature, and culture on the Rayer campus and the surrounding Denver area, created by journalism students while featuring work from English, art, journalism, and design students.
Who are you? Who are you talking to?
ballerina.
Sometimes all it takes to be a dad is remembering how to be a kid again. Take time to be a dad today.
What up, Roadrunners? I'm Alina Howder, here to give you the Rowdy Rundown and the latest updates on what's happening in sports. Let's start with our very own baseball team. In the last series, the Roadrunners took 2 out of 4 games, playing their best in their last game against CSU Pueblo, taking the game 13-5. In the first inning, the Roadrunners offense was on fire as they put up 4 runs to begin the game. Draven Adame led the Roadrunners to the win as he went 3 for 3 and had an inside the ballpark home run, bringing in 2 runs. The Roadrunners currently sit 8-7 overall in the season. They play New Mexico Highlands University this Saturday in a 3-game series. Let's send them some good vibes.
You know, he just really challenged us to compete and, you know, just go out there and just, you know, just compete. You know, struggled a bit the first 2 games. You know, probably expanded the strike zone too much, so he just told us to stay within ourselves and just be ourselves. I just kind of took a note of how they were pitching me the first 2 games.
To do what we keep doing. We have the ability to beat any team in this league from what we know and from what I've seen in practice and whatnot. And I think we got a lot of dudes on this team that can just really put it together. I think he just said that basically we just need to kind of just take a breather and just kind of just let your abilities play out.
The U.S. women's soccer team has filed a lawsuit against their employer, U.S. Soccer. The 28 team members made a global statement by announcing the gender discrimination claim last Friday on World Women's Day. Among the 41 complaints filed by the team was the lack of pay equality, despite the fact that the women's team is dominating their sport with 3 World Cup titles, 4 Olympic gold medals, and the most watched soccer event in American TV history. Players only make 1/3 of the pay of the men's team. If you haven't already heard, the Denver Broncos acquired Joe Flacco from the Baltimore Ravens during this offseason. Even though Flacco is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Broncos fans have mixed feelings about the trade. Let's check it out.
The Broncos missed the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive season, suffering back-to-back double-digit losses for the first time since the season of 66 and 67. A lot of fans are attributing these losses to poorly made calls during the season. This resulted in the firing of head coach Vance Joseph, much to the relief of those die-hard Broncos fanatics.
You know, we got rid of Vance Joseph, and that's pretty good. The last few years, he's been making some weird calls, but I feel like with Philip Lindsay running, I think we'll be okay.
After just 1 season in Denver, many fans believe that Case Keenum did not live up to the Broncos' expectations, causing John Elway to look elsewhere for a quarterback. Some are excited to be receiving Joe Flacco from the Baltimore Ravens.
Pretty good. I feel like our offense needs a veteran who knows how to coordinate things. And with Joe Flacco coming from the Baltimore Ravens, he's pretty good and he's a veteran, so hopefully he can pick things up for us.
While others are not too impressed.
I don't know. I definitely don't think he's like a step in the right direction from Case Keenum or anything like that. I think it was kind of just like they wanted to have someone in the locker room who has been around the block and has a little experience.
Not only have the Broncos picked up Flacco for the next season, they've also acquired new head coach Vic Fangio. Fans can look forward to this upcoming season as Fangio comes to the Broncos from the Chicago Bears with over 32 years in NFL experience. Best of luck to the Broncos in 2019.
So speaking of sports, baseball season is upon us. Dom, what do you think the weather's going to be like for those baseball goers?
Well, this week apparently and for this weekend, it's going to be really warm, like the upper 40s, upper 50s, you know, so it's going to be a really nice day for them to go outside. Maybe a little chance of rain, like 20%, but everything should go fine.
Very nice.
Sounds
Thanks,
like
Dom.
great. Awesome.
That's all the time we have on the Met Report. Don't forget to tune in every Friday on Campus Channel 20 and Comcast Channel 58.
And catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at mymetmedia.com.